At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And it was a very light box office weekend. There were no major movies released, probably because all of Hollywood was doing the Oscars thing. And you don't have the people available to either promote movies or do interviews. It's not a good weekend for anyone to release any major movie. And so you didn't have much change in the top 10 movies. Now, there was one entrant by the name of Last Breath. Not even familiar what that movie's about.
That's the Woody Harrelson one about the underwater rescue, the deep sea rescue.
Yeah, that nobody cared about. But it had a decent week. It came in at #2. Brought in 7.8 million domestically and just about 537,000 internationally. So there's not a wide presence internationally. So it brought in 8.3 million overall to come in at #2. #3 was The Monkey, which actually added 27 theaters, and it brought in 6.4 million, and its worldwide gross is 31 million. Again, it's a light weekend for any of these movies. Paddington in Peru came in 4th at 4.5 million, worldwide gross of 164 million. #5 is Dogman. We had talked about that. 4.2 million this week for a worldwide gross of 113 million. No big movies with the exception of the #1 movie, Captain America: Brave New World. Good news, bad news, depending on how you spin it. You can say, hey, Captain America: Brave New World was #1 for the 3rd week in a row. It brought in 14.8 million domestically. And it's not a worldwide hit, but it's not doing poorly either. It has 163 million domestically, 178 internationally, worldwide gross of 342 million. I'm quite sure Disney would like to see it hit at least 400 million. Here's the problem. In regard to that, it is now going to start losing theaters. It lost 305 theaters this past week, now down to 3,800. That drop is going to be steeper in the coming weeks as they move out most of these movies, which are in theaters for 3 weeks or more. But it still has an outside chance. Mufasa, The Lion King, came in at #6 with 1.9 million. Its total is now 706,960, about 707 million. I put those two movies together to let you know. You can see Mufasa the Lion King has been in theaters for 11 weeks, meaning if not for the Disney movies, your favorite movie theater is doing bupkis in business. Period, point blank.
And there's still nothing coming out in the coming weeks that's really going to kick Captain America: Brave New World out of the top 5.
No.
So I believe it'll hit that 400 easy because it is doing very good overseas. And still, regardless of all the hate that it is receiving here in the U.S., it's still thriving.
I try to remind people, Disney is a worldwide company. They're making movies for the world, not just flyover country. And even though you may not like Disney or the movies that it's offering, it is in your best interest to root for, not against. Otherwise, your favorite local mom and pop theater will be gone without Disney and their movies. Period, point blank.
Real quick, and I'm sorry, I have to interrupt this weekend box office update because I spent the weekend binge watching quite possibly one of the best shows out there, man. You did not lie. I completed my homework assignment.
Finally.
And I caught up with Paradise. Man.
I just going to ask if Stefan has caught up and done the most recent assignments. He started off early, but, I don't know if he's finished.
Wait. Fooch, I beat you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you binged it.
I caught all the way up. I could not stop watching yesterday. I skipped the Oscars, all that, because I was in my room in the dark watching it like it was pins and needles.
That's awesome.
The penultimate episode, the episode 7, oh my God.
Episode 8 is tonight. I think it comes out at midnight tonight, or it's available at midnight. I plan to watch that. And the only thing with penultimate episodes, which are so very good, usually there's a letdown for the finale. This last episode could have very easily been the season finale, and they could have left it right there.
Until you told me it was. I was like, oh, that's a great way to end.
And also, it was acknowledged last week, star Sterling K. Brown, and I don't want to give away the meaning of how he did it, but he publicized that season 2 had already been greenlit.
Well, he's one of the executive producers.
Yes.
So that's he's like, look, as one of the executive producers, I'm proud of this. I'm going to go on out and put it out there and say, yeah, man, we did this.
It's a hell of a start. I don't know. And what scares me is it's going to be hard to keep up the intensity, the pace, the tension of season 1, because everything is about revelation. There's a very narrow aperture. You don't get to see the fullness of the story. Yeah. And they've been slowly revealing things. And probably by the end of season 1, they will have revealed the major aspects of the story, the backstories, the players, the importance of who and so is and what they're going to mean going forward. I don't know if you can do that in season 2.
There are some things they introduce, and you can't say anything about it because you give it away. But there are some major plot lines that they introduce that impact the world we're seeing from the outside looking in. And I think that will be a major or play a major role in a coming season, because now I'm curious as to what else is there.
This series for me was so good. I would have loved to have seen a movie version of it. I would have loved to have seen how this could have played out as a 2.5-hour movie. Yeah, some things would have been left out, but I would have been okay with that. What say you, Mark?
I'd say if you leave out the kids, that'd be fine with me. And you could boil it down to a movie real easy. I'm wary of a second season because this was such a solid first season. And I think of shows like Lost or that Stephen King Under the Dome, which after a while you just kind of felt like you were getting jerked around. And I don't know how they improve on this. I see diminishing returns happening if they're not super careful.
The problem with a lot of these shows, and again, I don't want to be too specific, there is a goal. You know, if you, in other words, the only way the show can end is with a very dramatic ending, either happy or sad. The whole show, like Lost, for example, or even From, you're moving towards a specific goal. Lost, getting home. From, getting home. And you know that's the goal from like episode 1 or 2. This show is similar in that regard, where you're pressing towards a revelation, and either they keep teasing that and keeping you away from it, or they give it to you and the show's over.
Yeah, the show hinges on a revelation about the setting, and I'm not going to say anything more than that. I think there are ways you could engineer it and write it so that you could keep it fresh for a while in that setting, but the clock's ticking now that we know the score.
Yeah, 3 seasons maximum, and that might even be too long.
Ooh, that's a stretch.
That's what I'm saying. They may milk it for the 3rd season just for money purposes, but you can see how a show would fall off because you can't. That's when you start seeing those filler episodes, those throwaway episodes where you didn't learn anything. You didn't feel the story was moved forward because you run out of story to tell.
Heavy on flashback or something like that.
Right. Well, they already are. And the flashbacks constitute fully half of the plot that we see. And that's fine because it doesn't seem like it's a time waster yet. Like there were a lot of things, especially if you remember Lost, like you would wonder, well, we just spent this whole episode with Sun and her husband. What was that other than getting to know them better and filling out character that doesn't advance the plot? We haven't had that yet.
There are other characters in the story that we've not seen their backstories yet. I expect those flashbacks to be coming next season. They're consequential characters without calling them out. Yeah. We don't know where they were as of episode 7.
And okay, we'll talk off mic because there's a major character who took the thing, and I need to know more about that character. He said, I remember you. You were there. Mm-hmm. You took the thing. I need to know more about him because I believe that his mental health is a mislead.
And we didn't see how that person got to the destination where people are right now.
Yes.
That was a conspicuous absence and all that.
Yes.
So we don't want to give away anything. If you haven't started watching Paradise, just watch the first episode.
I promise you.
You just watch the first episode. If you like the first episode, you'll be fine the rest of the series. If you don't like the first episode, you not really wasted anything.
Yeah, man.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live, everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. I have bad news for Tuala and Mark when we come back. Depending on how old your DVDs are and where you got them from, they may be useless and you may not even know it.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Maybe you are a person who doesn't feel confident about keeping digital media, or maybe you just prefer physical media to have something to hold on to. We've had many discussions about how DVDs usually have content that digital media does not. Like if I want to watch the Avengers and I can watch some of the deleted scenes, it's not going to have as much content on it as the physical DVD would or the Blu-ray. Come to find out, well, your DVDs may also be temporary. For example, virtually every Warner Brothers DVD disc manufactured between 2006 and 2008 has succumbed to what they call laser rot, where discs simply stop working due to a rotting of the layers or lasers. Once it happens, it can't be undone. Well, we do know it was a frequent problem with laser discs back in the 80s and 90s, but it wasn't a huge problem with DVDs until now. And it can't be undone. So all those DVDs that you might have purchased during the early portion of the 2000s, especially if it happens to be Warner Brothers, and they have an extensive library. I'm quite sure, Tuala, you have a lot of Warner Brothers DVDs.
You're talking about my Matrix collection alone.
Yep.
I think that there's going to have to be a class action lawsuit against Warner Brothers for manufacturing such faulty DVDs, and the payout will be in free digital downloads. If I pop in a single one of my Warner Brothers DVDs, any of my Warner collection, I'm talking my Lord of the Rings, anything, my DC animated universe, all of that stuff that I have on DVD with the special deleted scenes, and especially the additional mini episode or mini 30-minute, all that, Warner Brothers, class action lawsuit.
He's going to the trunk.
I don't understand. Well, put it this way. We thought when we had the CD-ROMs and DVDs and the Blu-rays that we were moving into a period of technology, one, away from analog, and two, did not have to worry about decay or degrading like analog media did. That was supposed to be the upside of DVDs and CDs for that matter. And come to find out, no, they have the same shelf life for the most part.
Well, I don't know how much into the weeds of this you want to get. I do a lot of homework on this because I've got an insane, massive library and I'm still accumulating stuff because apparently I've got some kind of out of control OCD. There's no perfect way to store any of this stuff. You could store it on hard drives, but there's a debate now about whether you want it on a solid state drive or the kind with the moving discs. If those go bad, and both kinds do, then everything's lost. You can, if you have Tuala, your discs, and you're worried about the laser rot on them, you can rip them and reburn them, or rip them and store them on a disc. But every however many number of years, depending on the individual thing and the environment that you store it in, those are variables.
Well, it seems like you're saying there is no fail-safe, there is no guarantee about preserving any of this media.
There isn't, but I would still infinitely prefer to own a piece of physical media than ever trust a corporation with a digital download that I've, quote, bought, because you never fully own those, ever.
No, you don't.
No,
That's true.
I agree. You don't fully own them. You just have the right to view them, which is completely different.
I mean, trust and believe, my entire Apple iTunes music catalog is gone. I can't even access that thing anymore. And I downloaded I don't know how many songs, albums with liner notes, all that stuff, and I can't access
that you
it
paid for.
at all. I paid for that. I paid for that.
I lost my iTunes collection many years ago. Just going from one computer to the next. It's just, you just can't access it. It's gone.
Yeah. Ooh.
But I didn't have an extensive DVD collection. I'm more of the mind, I would rather have the digital media, which for me is probably easier to transfer than a DVD, which is probably more cumbersome.
I have the digital downloads. I got a lot. My digital library is pretty extensive. And there's a lot of things that I got because I want to watch it at the radio. I don't want to have to go and dig through the DVDs and pull out the laser disc player and all that. There's some things I'm just like, I want to own and just watch when I want to watch it. But I have some things. I have some things that are absolute classics on DVD. I'm talking things you can't find anywhere at all.
Will they still play, though?
The last time I pulled something out, yes, it did. Like the last time I pulled something out, it was my my anniversary edition of Flash Gordon. I got a copy of that.
Really?
Yeah, I bought it at Comic-Con. It was a limited edition, and it came with a Flash Gordon action figure with the khaki pants and the white T-shirt with the Flash on the front, and it came with a football. It was like a super case. The deal was DVD with the bonus DVD and another, and it had the music, it had a CD. So I had the soundtrack too. So it came with the soundtrack, the DVD, and the bonus cuts DVD.
That's how they're appealing. That's how they're staying in business. That's how these companies are surviving, which is making these bespoke, extra jam-packed, super special editions of movies that they know have a built-in audience. Like I pre-ordered a super duper special edition of Scanners, the David Cronenberg movie.
That's the movie. Look, that's a cult classic. I'm actually open to them remaking with special effects today.
Oh, I think it's perfect in every respect, and I wouldn't want to see it remade, but your mileage may vary.
No,
they made a series of cheaper and cheaper sequels to it that I wasn't that interested in. But, that's from an Australian company called Second Sight, and it's like $45 with another 20 of postage. But you don't get that stuff with downloads. There is one streaming service I know of that has extras. It's called Arrow, and it's a cult streaming label. And if you haven't checked it out, it's worth like paying $7? Try it out for a month. They have the extras. Like they'll have the movie, and then you can watch the movie with the commentary track or interviews. But that's the exception, not the rule.
I like the commentary tracks. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I used to collect analog cassette tapes, albums. I had, walls of cassette tapes. And then I realized I felt like I was getting too attached to physical media. I didn't ever want to feel like I was beholden to just collecting stuff and worrying about it and having it degrade or what have you. So I just stopped collecting. I don't collect much of anything. Like I'm not a clothes horse. I don't have a lot of shoes. Even the music I have, I don't even, because of when I lost my iTunes collection, I'd rather just go to YouTube and play stuff or Spotify when I have the desire to hear something. It's always available, so I don't feel the need to purchase or keep anything.
I feel that way more so with music, but I also like to be surrounded by things that bring me comfort when the world is crumbling.
Yeah.
What about the long-suffering one?
She's one of those things. I keep her on a shelf.
Okay. You know she's listening. No, that's not an aw.
What kind of love do you?
I keep her,
Boosh,
keep her in a locker in the basement.
On her shelf.
I just hope she heard that part.
We'll find out very soon because she'll text him. KFI AM 640. And with that, Mark Ronner, when we come back, Mark Ronner, we're going to find out where's the line, how Americans define cheating in modern relationships.
I don't see what this has to do with me. Let's go to the news.
We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I saw this article at studyfinds.org, and it intrigued me because our attitudes about relationships and the complexity in which we develop relationships has changed so much. I wonder what people find as going over the line. I'm actually curious, and I listened to the dating stories of people who are younger than me, what they consider sex is, what they consider cheating to be, and it's a real different world from when I was coming along. And because when I was coming along, and Twala and Mark, there weren't things like online dating, or began during that time. There wasn't texting per se. You didn't have the access to other people like you do now. You didn't have these dating apps where you just swipe left or right and you could hook up with someone. It was much more involved. But this article talked about where is the line, how Americans define cheating in modern relationships. And in trying to protect the innocent and the guilty for that matter, I'm just going to speak about this hypothetically. Got to make sure I got to stay married. And Mark Ronner, he's trying to keep himself from getting kicked out of the house. So
tread lightly, please.
Yes, we're going to be very general here. Twala, you can go buck wild. Stefan, I don't know his status, but I don't want to get myself in trouble here. For example, is flirting with the barista who makes your morning coffee a betrayal of your partner? And I would say, what is flirting? Are you being polite? Is that a smile? Or are you throwing a wink? How do we even define flirting?
If I go and get some coffee in the morning and the barista is looking rather fetching that morning and I say, hey, this coffee is hot, but not as hot as you, that's flirting.
I would say if you were to make a compliment about someone's physical appearance or something which is completely unrelated to why you are there, then I think that would be the line. Like if you haven't met the barista, you don't know the barista, you don't have any real rapport, and you say, hey, that outfit looks good on you. I think you cross the line there in that particular instance.
Whoa.
I mean,
that's such an innocent thing to say. What?
Look, I'm not going to just comment on people's clothing.
Well, not if they're wearing the same uniform as everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
You look good, but
that apron looks good on you, barista babe.
I don't know. See that? I don't know if barista is a good choice because most of us, we know the barista. We know the place we go.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Talker Research and commissioned by Lilo. They're talking about these gray areas of relationship fidelity and considering behaviors like harmless flirting, 51%, chatting with an ex, 60%, and watching adult videos, 23%, as forms of cheating. So when you, Mark Ronner, hypothetically,
just put the brakes on this.
Okay, if Mark Ronner, were to be in a relationship, Milo Flynn were to be in a relationship, however you define relationship, and were to open up Pornhub, that to some is considered cheating. Almost 1 in 4. I don't quite follow that line of thinking, but I'm just telling you what respondents have said.
Does Mark Ronner keep their significant other one on the shelf?
I'm not sure I appreciate any of this, but I mean, approximately 99% of men have looked at porn at some point, and the other 1% are liars. So this is like, being angry with the tides coming in. I don't understand what the issue is here.
You mean the tides that come and they go?
So to speak. Yes. Thank you for that.
Okay. When it comes to adult films specifically, those with strong feelings on the matter say that 54% of those respondents believe that racy content should be banned altogether once a relationship becomes serious. Good luck with that. 60% of those surveyed considered chatting with an ex-partner as crossing the line, and more than half, 51%, view what many dismiss as harmless flirting as a betrayal of trust. See, flirting is so vague. And I'm not trying to game the system, but how do people define flirting? Are you talking about flirting with intent?
Yeah,
or someone like every man knows when a woman is looking at him, looking.
Mm-hmm.
And if you smile back, is that flirting? Have you crossed the line there? Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about asking for her number. Just winking a nod. Yeah, I'd blow your back out.
I can't see how anybody'd have a problem with that.
No, but kind of I know going back to baristas, but I mean, you get to know them because you see the same people every day. and sometimes you do have like legit conversations. But yeah, I think if you comment on something that, like you said, is not have to do with being there, that kind of would cross the line. But as far as being looked at, I'm bad at that.
Like if you say to a barista, "Hey, I like the way you're filling out that Starbucks mermaid,"
That's flirting.
that
Yeah.
seems like it would be flirting.
Pretty
Yeah.
obvious, yeah.
I think if you are trying to elicit some sort of response, then you've crossed the line. Even if you don't even plan to follow up,
Yeah. Yeah.
you kind of know where that line is. It's like, damn, you look good in that skirt. Now, you may have no intentions of following up, but you know your significant other, wife, girlfriend, whatever, is probably going to have an issue with that.
Now,
Probably.
you'd have to be clinically insane to say that to somebody in front of your wife.
Yes. Yeah. Look,
I mean, that's kind of the benchmark right there. If it's something you wouldn't say or do in front of the wife, it's probably not kosher.
let me put myself in this conversation.
Oh, please, please.
I don't even have to say anything. All I have to do is just, if she thinks that the woman is my type, I'm in trouble.
Oh, preach. Listen. Listen, I get in trouble for women saying nice things to me.
Right.
And so for days or weeks or sometimes even years afterwards, I'll hear in a mocking voice, "Mark, would you like a bottle of water?" Or, something like that.
You know the only reason my wife comes to like remotes?
You don't even need to finish the
Thank
sentence.
you. Not to support me, just to plant a flag. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. And if I'm nice to a listener, it's like, that's her response to everything. I love it. Yeah. Oh, you know that so-and-so? She was very nice. If that's what you like.
That's the code.
Yeah, it's always that. It's always that.
I am constantly getting scapegoated and de facto punished for perceived behaviors of other people toward me when I'm just standing there and I'm like, what? What did I do? Mark, you want some cream for your coffee? What? I didn't initiate anything.
The Lord have mercy.
Look, wait until you get married, Mark. Assuming that you one day get married, you get in trouble for thought crimes.
So it's like Minority Report for crimes you have not committed
You have
yet.
not committed. Okay, the possibility that you might be considering it.
So what you're saying is that the instant you take your wedding vows, your wife becomes a precog.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Twala knows this is true. I've told him some stories.
Yeah, no, look, and none of what I'm hearing is making me think I should rush back into a relationship. I'm now thankful for my single solitude. Yeah.
Here we go. Here's another one. More than a third, 37% of respondents said they would directly confront their partner if they noticed their significant other hiding their phone password. Well, what else are you supposed to do with your phone password? That's why they call it a password. It's not for everyone to have.
Yeah, there's a weird codependence angle with sharing all that stuff with each other.
I don't get that. My wife has a password on her phone. I don't trip. I have a password on my phone. She doesn't trip in that regard. It's kind of like all phones have passwords.
Well, you live with each other. How much are you going to get away with?
Stop making sense.
I mean, it's been done. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
hasn't been done, but I mean, you're there. You're choosing to be there.
Yeah, I don't think that having a password on your phone, and other couples may disagree, is a sign that you have crossed the line. Wait till all said that.
No. I'm,
Sound like my wife.
no, I'm hearing you. I know that there are people who think otherwise. I'm like, those people.
Well, there's that whole continuum of possessive, jealous, controlling behavior. And I know couples who they share all that stuff with each other and they won't even let each other like dance with anybody at a company event or a reunion or anything like that.
Oh, you mean Mike Pence?
Oh, yeah, Mother. I forgot about Mother.
No, I have friends who have shared Facebook accounts. And it's so weird because I don't know if I'm talking to him or her.
Wait, what?
That's kind of sick.
Share.
How
I
do
kid
you-
you not.
how do you-
There's a common couple Facebook account that they both use. And I don't want to use their real name because they're real people.
No,
Husband and wife.
No,
It
that's not
exists.
cool.
That's the codependency that Mark's talking about. Like that's over the line the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what they're into, fine, but it's not usually equal like that. There's usually some person who's like, Set me free.
All I know is it's really, really complicated now to figure out where a lot of these lines are. Things that I thought were rather innocuous, rather innocent, no intent attached at all, are considered cheating. To back up Mark's point, men are going to look at porn, and if you think that's cheating, well, no one is faithful. Can I say it out loud? Can I tell the truth?
Yeah. Testify. Yeah. We've all gotten that like smack on the shoulder. We're like, she looks like somebody you'd like, you bastard.
Oh my gosh! Get out of my life.
Yeah.
She looks like your type.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? Agree or disagree? Because either answer is wrong.
It's a Kobayashi Maru. You cannot
win.
Cannot win.
That's why I just stopped talking. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And before we get out of here, just want to let you know that tomorrow, you hear it in the promo, but tomorrow we will be, I guess, doing the latter half of the State of the Union broadcast. KFI will be carrying that live, and we'll have that for you. The president is supposed to speak sometime between 6 and 6:30. There's no telling on when he's going to begin, whether he'll be on time. Definitely no idea how long he will be speaking, but we will have that for you live, and we'll give you some analysis afterward and wrap it up. But that's where I actually wanted to center my remarks for my final thought tonight. Because as a political nerd, I watch all the State of the Unions, and tomorrow is the State of the Union. And usually they are boring as all get out, and they reveal very little about the present or future of our nation. Usually they're pretty pro forma and pretty predictable. Tomorrow, I'm sure that the State of the Union will be absolutely none of that, given the moment we're in and the president we have. This is the Trump administration 2.0. It's going to be very different than the first time around. You can bet we're going to hear about tariffs. We'll hear about the pausing of aid to Ukraine and the process of slashing supposed waste from the federal government. I don't have to be psychic. You don't have to be psychic. You know that that's going to be a part of the State of the Union. You can also bet that Republicans will stand and applaud every single word that President Trump offers, and Democrats will sit on their hands accordingly. You know, one side of the House will go up and the other side will sit down. There will be zero unity or conciliation. We're going to be as partisan as ever. Tomorrow will be no different. There will also likely be insults and past grievances in the speech. You can bet on that as well. You can also bet that Elon Musk will be in the House, probably in a baseball cap and T-shirt. Hell, he might even take the podium and say a few words. Who knows? Maybe he'll even have his kid on his shoulders again, probably wiping more boogers on the furniture. Who knows? He does have 14 kids to choose from, so it shouldn't be difficult to find at least one rug rat to use as a prop. But that's a digression. But unlike the other joint sessions of Congress, this is an exceptionally consequential moment. It will define our foreign policy, which most likely will lead to the expansion of Russia. Trump may even reaffirm his desire for the United States to leave NATO. Not joking. And in doing so, rendering Article 5 moot. You know, that's the principle that an attack on one is an attack on all. And if we leave NATO, that would mean we would no longer be part of the all. It would also mean that Russia could expand beyond Ukraine and into the Balkans or into Poland without interference from the U.S. How better to get the Soviet Union band back together? But here's the truth. There is zero intersection of Russian and American geopolitical interests. Zero. Maybe in a Trump personal sense, but not in a foreign policy America first sense. Russia sides with North Korea and China. For starters, that hasn't changed. They are by definition our adversaries and have been for decades. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has called for Cyber Command to stand down on all Russia operations. It's more than slightly odd. That in no way makes America safer or in alignment with American interests. Who in the hell announces that we're standing down on investigations? The president may even call tomorrow night for easing of sanctions against Russia, even despite its invasion of Ukraine, which some people try to argue Ukraine brought it on themselves. It was the dress they were wearing. Even despite its continued interference in American elections, this combined with the pause on Ukrainian aid, a reasonable person, and I like dealing with reasonable people, but a reasonable person would come to the conclusion that the president is putting Russia first and not America. Who tells an adversary or even an ally that they're lessening security in regard to the country? Publicly. Who are you really protecting? But regardless, I expect fireworks because the president is promoting the speech like an episode of The Apprentice. Because ratings and entertainment seemingly are far more important in 2025 than governance. Tomorrow, Tuesday, should be a tumultuous day from the stock market to the State of the Union. But here's the truth. None of this is a game or a TV show, even though a game show host might be up there speaking. For KFI AM 640, I'm Mo Kelly.
What you need to know and when you need to know it.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live